What is up, you wild dingoes? We are back into the swamp. Shades of Morton just keeps bringing me back to find more and more really strange, unique methods that I feel like this time around, I really think this is I don't know, maybe some Iron Men in old school have probably done something like this, but it is a first for me. And the results are surprising. So if you've been to Shades of Morton, you might have noticed the random Afflicted wandering around, and surprisingly, these actually have like a pretty unique mechanic. And if you have Serum 207 potions, you can actually use them to cure them. And honestly, the only videos I could find on this was one from like a friend, which was like uploaded like 10 years ago, and I think he was just doing it as like a way to get herbs. And I think in 2005 these actually get like a huge buff, which I thought was going to be in this version, but apparently not. But if you make the permanent cure, the Serum 208s, you can actually get a better loot table when you try and cure the Afflicted. And I'm probably gonna make another video when that drops in 2005. I'm not sure when exactly that's supposed to come out. I couldn't really find any information on that, but this method is not terrible at all. Like, I thought this was just gonna be like kind of a nothing burger. I probably wasn't even gonna upload anything about this, really. I thought it was just like a quirky mechanic that, maybe, they just added just to make the minigame more active, because the drop table gives like a bunch of random logs and olive oil, stuff basically used for the minigame. But I decided to kind of change the way I would normally approach this thing, because I was initially just going to make my Serum 207s in my bank and just cure these guys and see what I could get. But I realized, because the shop there has vials of water, all I needed was some noted ashes, maybe a few herbs, because on the drop table, when you cure them, you can get a 1 in 7 chance at getting 1 to 3 Terramin. Which got me thinking, could this be some sort of Herblore method? Currently in 2004, there's like some yeah, you can buy herbs from players, but 99 herb is super expensive. If you're playing as an Iron Man or Ultimate Iron Man in this version, which there are a few actually, there is this wall in the Joker pothole dungeon, which has like, it spawns like Rogue's Purse or whatever that herb is, and you basically just fill your inventory with them, spam click them, and just drop them. And doing this can get you like 7 to 8k XP an hour. However, it's pretty click intense and really doesn't get you much, honestly. I don't know, it's really not that worth it, honestly. Like, it's too intense to be like a realistic method. So I decided to try this out. I think the only video out there is a friend's. I think he cured like 500. So we're gonna one up a friend and cure 600 of these guys and see what we can get. And I'm gonna basically treat this as like a Herblore method. So I'm gonna bring my ashes and see what I can get out of this. If this is like a future method for people, it's one of those things that, like, when you see how herb is kind of done in this version of the game, you have to buy vials, which I think I calculated it one time. It was like you need like 100 mil worth of vials of water just to get all the potions for 99 Herblore. Just the vials, without getting them yourself. And I feel like this has some potential, because the time spent getting money for Herblore, might actually, you know, if this is decent, this might be a potential method, but I don't know. I'm almost 99 rune crafting. I've made a lot of money. I'm gonna try and just buy as many herbs as I can once I get to that point in the game. But Herblore is not really on my radar right now, so I was just curious. I wanted to see if this is gonna be like something. I mean, honestly, I had no idea these potions even had any use. I always thought this was just like some quest item that you can just get free Herblore XP from that's like relatively cheap. All you need is ashes and you can get some cheap XP that way. And with the recent update, they actually made it so you can just spam click, like you can put both the unfinished potion and the secondary ingredient and in like the bottom of your inventory and just spam them. Before, your inventory would like move everything all the way to the top, and you would have to like constantly move things around in your inventory to actually make the potions. But now they made it so you could just like spam it like darts in a way, so that's also really helpful for this. So yeah, I mean, as you can see, there's gonna be a lot of dropping. This isn't gonna be like a really AFK way of training herb. Of course, Andrew Gower and his crazy ideas of coming up with things that we could do in this game are always around this time very click intensive and somehow balanced. I don't know how he came up with this as a method, but here we are. And who knows, maybe this is like unintentional, maybe this is just to get people to get supplies for building the temple. For some reason, the best or like the rarest thing you can get on this drop table is a hammer, which is like 1 in 85 for whatever reason. Not sure what the logic there is, but yeah. So I initially brought a knife because I saw on the drop table that you can get regular logs, and maybe as like a little quality of life, I could have brought a tinderbox and just spam them without actually trying to light them. Just use the tinderbox as like a way to drop them without right clicking, because the drop rate to get logs is like really common. It's a 1 in 6.4 chance to get 1 to 5 logs. So I thought maybe this might actually be a decent way to get arrow shafts as well. So I thought, okay, maybe I can make some arrow shafts, because I know there are some people that actually make them, and I think you can actually make some decent money selling them. So there is that as well. So you could make money making headless arrows. Maybe I could have brought some feathers and get some fletching XP. Initially, I really had no idea how I was going to keep track of everything. Trying to do an hour of this and, constantly having to stop and write, the amount of herbs I get each time was not realistic. I just couldn't be asked. So luckily, I could just subtract the amount of ash that I use and the Terramin that I started with to basically see how much of my herbs I used and how many ashes I ended up using in total, and figure out how many Terramin I actually end up getting from the cures. So I decided to just do an hour of this and see what I end up getting. In order to actually do this, you need 15 Herblore, so the requirements are super low. I think if you just complete the quest, you could probably get that, because I think you get like 3,000 or 4,000 Herblore XP, and I think you can get like a bonus 335 XP if you exchange the book to the Varrock Apothecary. There's like a little hidden Herblore XP thing. But yeah, to do this, if any of you guys actually end up doing this, normally I guess you're supposed to just click the dialogue every time you cure, but you can actually just use the Serum 207 and then just click away, and the item from the drop table will just appear in your inventory. So you can just spam click and just constantly click on your map to the next Afflicted, and they respawn very quickly. Like, I don't know the exact timing, but there's like a really good spot like right near the bridge where you first enter the Shades of Morton, and then you just go around, and when you run low you can just sell everything that's not like a potion requirement, and just and that's it. Just repeat. If you run out of vials of water, you can just buy them from the shop. And I noticed that I didn't have to buy that many. There's also a sink nearby, so you do end up getting a lot of empty vials, but depending on how you're pathing in this, you could, it's honestly just better to just buy it from the shop. It restocks pretty fast as well, so it really makes me think that this is what the devs probably intended at the time, but there's like no information about this method. So Herblore is one of those skills that requires a lot of prep, especially during this era of the game. Obviously in old school you have like the decanter, the diary stuff, to, you know, all that saves so much time, like looking at it now. But in here you have to make every unfinished potion. You have to start from the vials of water, making the unfinished potion, and then you can actually start training the skill. So yeah, and if you're stuck with a bunch of grimy herbs as well, that's also another thing. So I really wonder if, when you factor all that time that you spend making potions, you know, this kind of skips that. You get right to the potion making part, and each potion gives like 50 XP, so it's really good. And you also clean the herbs in this, like, in the same inventory, so, you know. And ashes are very common. You can easily pick them up while you're fire making. So this method actually has some potential. It definitely will save you a ton of money. But I mean, this is really click intense, so who knows? But maybe someone in Crandor might have like the numbers on how long everything takes, because there are a lot of steps. And I mean, the one thing that really sucks about this is that you have to drop a lot of items. So yeah, might not be good for the wrists there. But I mean, it's basically turning Herblore into like mining, power mining in a way. So I don't know. Honestly, it's cool that, like, even back in the day, this is like 22-year-old content, and I bet there's probably like nobody that really knows about this. Alright, so after 1 hour, I ended up doing 618 cures. So I started with like 811 ashes, and by the end of it, I had 605. So I was able to make 206 serum 207s. And from my own Terramins, I ended up only using 30 of them, which basically allowed me to get 176 potions from the Afflicted. So I ended up getting 176 Terramins, which, based on the cure rate and the drop table, I should have gotten 164 Terramin. Since you can get 1 to 3, the average chance per roll is basically 2 Terramin every 7.5 doses. So after 1 hour, I got 10,860 Herblore XP, which is crazy. That's a lot more than I expected, and it really didn't even cost me anything, because I got all my ashes from trying to go for 65 fire making, which you can easily pick them up while you're fire making. So yeah, almost 11k XP an hour, and the amount of logs that I ended up dropping was 290 based on just an average rate. So that would have gotten me 4.3k or 4,350 arrow shafts. So that would have made me like 108k if I were to make, like, if I were to buy the feathers, turn them into headless arrows and sell them for like 50 each. I think feathers are probably like 25 each. That would have made me like 100k. And if you factor in, so you do eventually lose Terramin over time. So in this case, I lost 30 Terramin. That only, at current prices, that's only 22.5k. So if you actually make the arrow shafts into headless arrows, you can actually make money doing this at the same time. It's a very small amount, but maybe some Iron Men out there might actually do this because of that. And it might actually put, if people end up fletching while doing this, since there is the make X option now, it's honestly not that bad. But I think with the amount of logs you're going to be getting, like I almost got 300 logs that I had to drop. Fletching in between, I might end up losing some Herblore XP over time, so maybe it might not be worth it, but still a weird method that honestly I had no idea this was even going to be in this update. So when 2005 comes around, I'm definitely going to come back here and try this out again, considering the Serum 208s have a higher Terramin drop rate. Actually, no, the drop rate's like 1 in 8, but the amount of Terramin that you can get is like 2 to 5, which is a lot more. And you can get like other things like bronze keys, so definitely something I want to check out in the future, considering there's probably going to be a lot of quality of life updates, just, you know, getting here instead of going from Varrock or the glider. So definitely gonna revisit this in the future. But if you guys did enjoy, make sure you guys like and subscribe and hit that bell icon to get notifications every time I upload. I'm probably gonna make a playlist of these kind of, I guess, like loot type videos, or anything that I find that, you know, might pique my interest, and hopefully yours as well. So anyways guys, I'll see you guys in the future. Peace.